Okay, alright, you know what that is? Right there? That's my closet. You know what I'm about to do? About to come out of it. It's actually the bathroom, but I can't fit in the closet, so just for the sake of this, let's pretend that that's the closet. Hey everyone, so surprised, today's video is coming to you guys on Sunday, and why is it coming on Sunday? It's coming on Sunday because today is October 11th, which is nationally recognized as National Coming Out Day. We try to recognize and encourage LGBTQ visibility and promote pride in being who you are, no matter who you are. Just being proud of who you are and being honest and being open and being very visible. I've always been someone who's tried to be very honest and very true to who I am. I've never been one who liked to pretend to be someone else or to pretend to be not myself just for any reason. And on some level, I haven't really been true to that because I realized that I've never publicly stated that I'm gay, because I got like this warm feeling that just like spread through my entire body, because I'm like really excited to finally be able to say that out loud, because it's something that I haven't talked about publicly. I haven't talked about it on social media. I haven't really mentioned anything about that. So it's really kind of a bit of a liberating experience to be able to talk about it. This is a video that I've wanted to make for a while. Because, you know, obviously growing up, you know, I watched a lot of coming out videos. A lot of people talking about their coming out stories and a lot of people coming out on YouTube. YouTube seemed like a very, very like safe place. And it was a community that I personally wanted to be a part of. And so I started to make a YouTube channel. It's something I've wanted to do for a while. And I don't know, I guess I'm just glad that I finally said something. And so for a lot of people, a lot of you that might be watching this, who know me personally and who I've spent a lot of time with, who didn't know that I was gay and that you are now just finding out about it, I apologize, you know, that I wasn't able to tell you at any type of, you know, step along the road. Just because honestly I was kind of scared. I didn't know how a lot of people would react. You know, it's kind of a scary thing. The reactions that you're afraid that people are going to have, you play the worst scenario in your head, or at least I do. I'm a worst scenario person. You know, I think of the worst scenario because I know that anything that's going to happen will be better than the worst scenario, or it'll be the worst scenario and then I'll already be prepared. Constantly I'm just thinking about what's going to happen, and finally I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care if something bad happens. That's just the nature of what was going to happen. Honestly, sometimes there really wasn't a forum to just open up the conversation to this. You know, I didn't want to make every single conversation about me being gay and about my sexuality because that's just not what I wanted to do. And especially over the last couple months, I kind of realized that, you know, every single encounter that I would have with someone that didn't know, I was almost pushing myself to say, you know, tell them, you know, be more open with them. And while I should have, and while, you know, it's something that I wanted some more visibility. I hated the fact that almost every single interaction that I had with somebody who I knew didn't know was almost surrounded by that. It was a lot for me. And so I hope that you understand why I'm doing it in this fashion. It's just because, you know, National Coming Out Day is something that, you know, it's always been, it's a point of pride for most people, but for me it was always kind of a point of fear, to where every single year that National Coming Out Day came, I was like one step closer to saying, oh, you know, I'll come out this year, or I'll come out this year, and I never did. I always thought, you know, I would do some sort of big public penis line gesture, where, you know, I came out publicly, and nothing ever felt comfortable to me. And honestly, I just decided, you know, if someone isn't going to accept me, I probably didn't really want them in my life to begin with. As sad as that is and as horrible as that is, some people aren't going to react well to this. That's the brunt of it, is some people that aren't going to react well to this. But I mean, if you don't accept me, you're bum out of luck. Not much I can do for you. But in addition with just in generally coming out on YouTube, which is just so weird to say out loud, I did want to talk about my coming out story, because, you know, I would love to add my story into the chronicle of all of the other coming out stories, and to, you know, maybe help some, you know, LGBT youth out there that are as confused as I think I was when I was 15. So my coming out story probably, you know, starts when I was 15. Personally, I think I kind of realized my sexuality but late in the game. I know a lot of people are like, you know, I've known since I was born, I've known since I was 2, and I'm like, I had no idea. I hadn't even considered it. The thing about me growing up was, it's not that gay was frowned upon, and it's not that, you know, gay was ever a bad thing growing up. It just wasn't a thing. I mean, it was like a multiple choice test where, you know, it's either you could pick straight or gay, but the answer gay wasn't even on the paper. So I just kind of had to circle straight by default, because I didn't even know that gay existed or it was a thing. You know, as I grew up, you know, it obviously became more prevalent, you know, as I met and I knew more gay people. But it just kind of stayed in like a periphery of my mind. I don't know, I was so excited, I remember when I was 15, because I was like, yeah, I'm so excited because, you know, I do art and I sing and I do music and I'm in band and I'm in speech on the speech and debate team, and it's like, I'm gonna be the only straight guy around all of these girls, and it's gonna be so great because I'm just gonna like all these girls. And it clearly didn't work that way. I also remember I was in my car one day driving to school, and I remember listening to like those morning radio shows. I think it might have been like Elvis Duran or something like that, and they were talking about your gay guilty pleasure. And so they're like going off, and like I remember one guy said, he's like, oh, my gay guilty pleasure is Toxic by Britney Spears, and I'm like, oh yeah, I have that, and, you know, like they're all saying a bunch of different things. I'm like, oh, that one too, that one. Wow, I have a lot of gay guilty pleasures, and I just didn't think about it, just over my head. And at some point in time, the idea just kind of like presented itself to me. I just like, it kind of popped into my head, and at first, you know, I completely rejected it, and I said, no, there's no way. And then the more and more that I thought about it, the more I'm like, okay, you know, that it has some potential there. So, you know, I was bisexual for a little while. You know, and bisexuality is a very interesting thing. I know that a lot of people assume that bisexuality is a stepping stone. It's not. It's not a stepping stone for just people to say, oh, I'm bisexual, and then now I'm gay. Bisexuality is a real legitimate thing, and just because it wasn't for me doesn't mean that it's not in general. I realized that I was bisexual, and to me it was really kind of terrifying, because I knew what that meant, and I knew the kind of implications that that had, and I was just terrified of what that would mean. But the longer and longer that I thought about it, the more that I was accepting of it, and then I started to tell people. The first person I told was probably my best friend at the time. Her and I were sitting out in the band parking lot, I think, and we were just kind of like sitting there like talking to each other, and she was talking. The first person I told, I think, was probably my best friend at the time. We were sitting out in the band parking lot, and she was talking about her problems and I was talking about mine, and then I think I was just like, I don't know, I just kind of said it under my breath, and she's like, what? And I'm like, I'm bisexual. And, you know, she kind of looked at me and she's like, okay, you know, I mean, she was like happy and she was excited for me, but like, it wasn't a big deal. And immediately after that, I was like so excited that, you know, it wasn't going to be this massive deal, you know, that people would be happy for me and they would accept me, but it wouldn't be this massive thing. I was really kind of excited, and then gradually I started to tell, you know, more and more of my friends, you know, just a couple here and a couple there. You know, I considered myself, you know, I was still dating girls. And so I consider myself, I'm like, okay, maybe I'm like 25% gay and like 75% straight. And it was maybe about, you know, halfway through my junior year that I kind of realized that those percentages might be a little more flip-flopped than I thought they would be. And around the summer of my junior year, I was probably about 17, and I got my first boyfriend. And we met at some design camp, and we met on a Monday, and I got his number on a Friday, and then he asked me on a date by that Saturday, and I was so excited. It felt right. Like, there wasn't anything forbidden about it. There wasn't anything bad about it. I just felt so excited and so relieved, and it just felt like something that I always should have been doing. So, you know, we scheduled our date. We were going to go to dinner, and then we were going to come back to my house and watch a movie. And I'm like, yeah, this plan, like, it was like seamless. And I realized my parents didn't know. And we were coming over to my house, and I'm like, I feel like they should know. And so, you know, he asked me out Saturday morning. By Saturday night, I went to my parents' room, and I'm just like, hey, guess what? Bisexual. And I was just like, I was so terrified to tell my parents. And I want to give a lot of props to my parents. I know that both of them are probably watching this, and they're probably both looking at each other and like, yeah, we did good. Because you guys both did good. You were both absolutely fantastic with it. I couldn't have asked for, you know, a better reaction and better help. You know, they asked a lot of questions, which is understandable because it's obviously not something that they're well versed in, being that they are both heterosexuals. So they asked me, you know, a lot of questions, and it was fine, and they were totally accepting. But I do want to give a lot of props to my parents just because of the fact that I laid a lot on them on that one day. I said I was bisexual. There was a guy that I liked. He's coming over to the house on Friday, And he was a little more edgy than I think they would have expected. It was just like a little outside my normal range of the girls I was dating in high school. So, you know, I want to give them a lot of props for just all that I kind of loaded on them at once. Being with guys, to me, you know, physically, emotionally, mentally, grammatically, all the leads, it all seemed right. It all seemed like what I always should have been doing to me. You know, slowly and slowly that circle of people that knew about me was getting wider and wider and wider. And you know, by my senior year, I didn't care. A lot of the times throughout, you know, my freshman and throughout my junior year, I was, you know, terrified. You know, I would kind of like not really express myself as much, not be as loud and as boisterous and as honest as I am as a person, because I was kind of afraid, you know, of how people would judge me and that people would come to the conclusion that I was gay without me saying anything, and I didn't want people talking behind my back. It was just a whole big thing. And finally by my senior year, I'm like, I really don't care. I'm like, if they know, they know. I mean, it's true, so it's not like they're lying. So I really don't care. And, you know, I started just being more myself. I started being more expressive. I started doing activities and things that I liked more. Because up until that point, I'd kind of been denying myself of the things that I liked doing. And, you know, by my senior year, I was excited to do what I wanted to do. Yeah. And by the time I got into college, I was immensely excited because it was like a fresh start. You know, I didn't have anybody that knew me previously, so there wasn't any need to, you know, there wasn't any expectation to live up to. So I could be the person I always wanted to be without, you know, without any worry of anything. So here I am, being the person I've always wanted to be, being honest and open and an extremely visible person and very loud, just a very loud person, loud. The other thing that I wanted to say was, especially for anybody who is not really sure or not really as informed about, you know, gay and gay culture and, you know, gay life, you know, and other people that are gay, and they're very, very kind of confused and they have a lot of questions. There are several YouTube channels that I would like to extend out to you, several couples that really show to gay people just doing their shit. They really, really show an authentic, you know, how normal people just live their lives. So one of those channels is Shep689, which they've been immensely helpful with me. And what's great about them is that, you know, they're just normal people. That was something that especially I struggled with my junior, senior year, because I thought that to be gay, you had to fit in this certain box. That there was a certain checklist, you know, of characteristics that you had to be gay, or a certain checklist to be straight. And, you know, they kind of showed me that there's not. Being gay doesn't make you anything else other than the fact that you like men. And so I am posting this video to tell all of you guys that I am loud and I am proud and I am gay as all get out, and I'm excited that I'm finally going to be able to be visible. So that is a wrap on this week's video. I really hope you liked it. If you did, give it a big fat old juicy thumbs up. If you want to see me in your subscription box every single week, then click subscribe in the numerous subscription places, and I will see all of you guys the next day that ends in Y. Bye guys.